Jeff Crilley Show. I got to confess, I'm a little bit nervous because it's not often that I interview a fellow broadcaster, a broadcaster who usually sits right here. It's Jay Young. He is an entrepreneur. He's an author. He's the founder of King Operating. Welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me on. I mean, this is a pleasure. I mean, man, you are having me on your show.
Well, and it does feel weird because you're usually here, right?
I know. I'm like, man, looking, what camera do I look at and how do I answer questions? And
well, refresh my memory. How did you and I meet?
Well, have we met yet? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we did meet. Matter of fact, there was two people, Rosemary Bates, Dr. Rosemary Bates, who's been on your show before, and you know her. And somebody else, I can't remember who the other person was, told me like on a Friday, you need to meet this Jeff Crilley guy.
Wow.
And I go, who's Jeff Crilley? And they go, you don't know who Jeff Crilley is? My gosh, you are. I said, I'm ancient. I'm old. You know, I'm out of the sticks. You know, I need to know who this guy is. So I called you on Monday morning, and now here we are. We met, and I've done 20 shows, I guess, or
yes.
I don't know.
And I've got to compliment you on, I mean, you're not a born broadcaster, but you just instantly adapted into it. You've got that booming voice. I call it the voice of God. I would have loved to have your voice when I was on the news. And you just have a presence about you. And you've lured some big names on your show. Well, let's talk about a couple of them. Well,
you know, the good news is the older you are, the more people you meet, right? I mean, it just happens. I mean, so I've had Phil Romano on. Phil's great. That was a two-part series.
Let's talk about Phil Romano a little bit while we show a little bit of that video.
So I met Phil through a mutual friend 15 years ago, I guess, and we were doing basketball games, Maverick games, and the guy said, I'm not going to buy any more, sell any more.
Here you are, arm wrestling?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Now, did you let him win?
He cussed me because he hit his elbow on the side of here like this, and he cussed me. I saw him like 2 days. The next day after, he's like, oh, my elbow still hurts. I said, Phil, man, you're an old man, you know, and you're such a great, you know, he's in such great shape. I didn't think I'd beat him, so I put a little extra, and yeah, it was a little too much for him. You know, so Phil, sorry about that.
Yeah, always let the guests win.
I know, that's true. I really just should have turned over or something. But anyway, he's a great guy. I don't know. Go back and watch that interview. He talks about the 30 different startups that he's done.
No kidding.
This guy is amazing. I mean, Fuddruckers and Macaroni Grill and
he's
Rudy's.
He's humble. I mean, he not everything he touched turned to gold, and he admits that in his book. And I thought that was wonderful. You did a great job interviewing him.
It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard at all. Phil's one of those kind of guys that say, Phil, tell me about Fuddruckers. I mean, that's all you have to say, right? He goes, let me tell you about Fuddruckers. And he goes off, and he's incredible. Good guy. I've known him for years.
All right. Anybody else on the show that was memorable that you'd like to talk about?
Let's see, Birdman. I've had some good veterans on.
Okay.
This guy, you know, Birdman, right? You think Birdman. Well, Parrott is his last name, so you're thinking, wow, hey, this is the reason why Parrott Birdman.
Right.
You know, he said, that's not how I got my name. And I said, well, how'd you get your name? And he said, I was in an explosion in a Jeep. And he said, I was flying through the air.
No kidding.
And that's when they nicknamed me Birdman.
Wow.
Burned all over his body, you know. Now he helps all different types of veterans that are burnt. I mean, the most emotional show. I don't think I've cried during a show before. I cried then. I hugged him at the very end. Man, it was an incredible interview.
Wow.
What a guy that just gives back, you know, 100% of his time and efforts to veterans is beyond me, and how people can do that. But man, he's just a very, very humble guy and great guy.
I love it. Well, one of the things that I think is happening is this is now becoming part of your identity, which is really cool. I mean, you're not only running a very successful company, but you're a broadcaster. You're a host. It gives you an opportunity to meet, as you said, so many different people from different walks of life. Just whet our appetite. What are some of the guests that you hope to book in the near future?
Well, and first for you to say that I'm a broadcaster, I'm in this deal is awesome, because man, I'd never even dreamed of this. I mean, me and my brother both, you know, he's KSST radio in Sulphur Springs.
Oh, cool.
He has a voice that loves radio, and we've been on the radio in Sulphur Springs, not a big deal, but to hear you say that's great. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
First. And second is I interviewed and had pictures with Pete Rose at the Sports Con not long ago. And Kim had mentioned that I'm a former Texas Rangers owner. You know, when Chuck Greenberg came in there with Nolan Ryan and, all the different owners at first. Some of us have sold back our shares, which I have, but Kim told Pete that. And Pete Rose said, I can't remember the exact, 13 and 19. He said, I either got 13 hits off of Nolan Ryan or 19 strikeouts or something.
Wow.
But knew the numbers off the top of his head.
That's wild.
Pretty crazy.
That's wild.
But we have a great in with his agent.
Okay.
So he's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks. I'm going to talk to Nolan here in the next week. This week or next week, I'm going to talk to Nolan. I'd love to get those two on.
Wouldn't that be something?
Wouldn't that be a great show?
Amazing. Okay, I got to get you to tell the Nolan Ryan story you just told me before the mics came on.
Oh, okay, all right. So we're down in Houston at a Rangers game or a Rangers Astros game.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there with three of my clients in the restaurant before you go down to the game. There's a restaurant. We're sitting there, and my back's to the door. But as soon as Nolan Ryan walks in, everybody does what? Right. Everybody's quiet. It's like quiet. The air's out of the room or something because the great Nolan Ryan. I mean, here's this guy is 5,000 strikeouts, 7 no-hitters, and my clients are doing the same thing. Their mouths are open, and so Nolan comes up to me. I've sat at a lot of games. Game 7, St. Louis with Nolan. I've sat at a lot of different games and practices, and just got to know him. And he's such a great guy. Him and his wife both, Ruth, and so Nolan walks in the room. He heard I was going to be there, walks in the room, and he puts his hand on my shoulder, and he says, "Hey, I hear you're going to be in town, or you're in town for the game tonight." And I turned around and I said, "Nolan, hey, can't you see I'm with my friends here, He just started laughing. He is such a funny guy. I mean, man, we got up. I introduced him to my friend. I almost forgot to introduce him to my friends.
Oh, my goodness.
They probably wouldn't have still be my friends if I wouldn't have, but I said, "Oh, yeah, hey, let me introduce you to my friends." And Rick Gornto, Jason Hodges, Michael Cassidy, all three of those guys. I'm going back again a couple of weeks, do the same thing. But anyway, so we got up, and Nolan went down the list. He told about Dave Wood. We talked about Bob Simpson, Ray Davis,
wow.
Ken Hurst, Billy Quinn. I mean, all those different owners, and he had a story about each one, or we'd share stories about each one.
Well, we still remember him beating up Robin Yount, right? Who charged the mound?
Ventura.
Robin Ventura.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm thinking if you end up arm wrestling, you don't have to let him win. He's gonna win.
He's gonna win. He's still in great shape. And I don't. Maybe I should have them on the show. Well, they were against each other, in baseball games, and they're good friends today.
That's
that was a little heated moment at the time.
Yeah, it was. Okay, well, let's talk about your for-profit business. I mean, tell us about King Operating.
Well, so King Operating is an oil and gas operating company. We drill and complete oil and gas wells, and we've been an operator since 95. Actually, 96 is when I started King Operating. Mm-hmm. My family goes back 100 years, and so last Sunday I was eating dinner with my dad in Sulphur Springs, and I said, "So, Dad, I don't think there's anybody still alive that is my great-grandparents' kids." There was 12.
Wow.
Right? They had 12 kids. And if you're a man, you're in the oil business, and if you're a woman, you're married to somebody in the oil business out in West Texas. And then my grandfather had 4 brothers, and all 5 of them were in the oil business.
Wow.
But we were talking about the tree and seeing how many of those, and my Uncle Bill is the only living person in those 12. But everybody's in the oil business, and everybody, you have brothers, cousins. I mean, there's people throughout. You can't go very far from Big Spring, Coahoma area and not run into a Turner or somebody like that. So we started a long time ago. It's all we knew growing up was oil business and how this does this and how's the pump jack work and what's downhole in a pump jack, that thing that goes up and down, and we just talk about that. So about a few years ago, we had talked about, and I talked to one of my friends, David Moore, who's in the apartment business, about how he does his business. And so I thought, man, his clients are making money and he's making money. How can I duplicate that? That's when we started a new model on value add.
Okay.
Let's go buy an asset Let's put enough money together to increase the value of it and refinance it, sell a part of it. We did that on our first SCEF 1. We had it's like a little less than a $5 million raise.
Mm-hmm.
And we drilled some wells in there, sold a third of it for $13.5 million.
Wow.
And so we paid back all the investors. You know,
Yeah.
I got it back in.
Yeah.
Yoo-hoo, right? And we moved on and kept drilling that area. So we wanted to change it, and that's the reason why I wrote the book as well, which I know you want to mention something about that.
Let's talk about the book.
Yeah. So am I leading on? Is this my interview or your interview?
Well, when an interviewer,
come on, let's go.
When an interviewer interviews an interviewer, there's kind of a tug of war.
I'm trying to think ahead. I want to make sure you hit all the points that we want, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
We didn't talk about you, Jeff.
No.
Man, this is about you.
So,
this is about the Jeff Crilley show. This is about Jay Young. No.
All right, tell us about the book.
All right, so what book? No, I'm just kidding. So I wrote the book, The Upside of Oil and Gas Investing. It should be out in the next month or two. And because there's so many investors, and you've probably been hit up 100 times in your lifetime.
Sure.
Hey, I got this well over here. Man, you know what? I'm going to drill it, and it's $1 million well. Put in $100,000 and
Right.
get on 10% of it. And as long as there's oil in the ground and it keeps coming out, which could be for 40 years, then you're going to get checks.
Right.
The problem with that is that you're going to be promoted on that project, number one. And number two, when that well runs out, you're done, right? There's no scalability and there's no exit on that. It's just an investment. So you get the write-off, you get some income, and all of a sudden the income goes to zero, and then you're like, okay, well,
Right.
that wasn't very much fun. So with David Moore and his apartment business, who offices in this building, I thought, how do I tell people about this? Because you start talking to people about, hey, there's a new way to invest in oil and gas, and you're over the phone or you're in person,
Right.
and they're going, wow, it's like three heads. You know, it's like, I got to head over here, I got to head over here. So I'm like, I should write a book about it. I want to get into Forbes. So Forbes is my author. And
that's awesome.
I wanted to I'm writing an article for Forbes to do the book launch. And so everybody's going to start hearing about King Operating and our new model and what we do and how we do it. Because people love oil and gas for the write-off.
Yes.
Still a write-off, 100% deductible off your adjusted gross income. But we also have, we're scalable.
Right.
We may buy 200 locations, but only drill 10, right?
Okay.
We drill 10 and sell.
All right, when the book becomes a movie, who stars as you in the movie? I'm thinking of you're a dashing, tall Texan. George Clooney? What do you think?
Yeah, let's call Clooney right now. Is it Lake Como? Maybe we can go
have
to.
him on the show.
Yeah.
Hey, I
need to interview him too.
One final question.
Can't put him on our list here.
So, I mean, Texas and oil and J.R. Ewing, I mean, they're all kind of... When you travel and you're this tall Texan and they say, what do you do? And you say, I'm in the oil business.
Oil business,
Do they say, of course you are? Like everybody in Texas...
Booming voice. Well, you know, a lot of people with my network that I'm in, Tiger 21, I probably should mention that name because they're going to want to hear all about how I've promoted Tiger 21 or not. Sorry. But, you know, when I'm there and I go to Washington, D.C. to a meeting, they're like, where is your hat? Now, where's your cowboy boots, man? You're wearing a suit and tie. Yeah, you brought a horse up here, and and I'm like, no, I mean, I'm just a regular, business guy because you don't necessarily want to have a cowboy hat.
But it is kind of cool. Like if three guys are standing at a bar, and what do you do? I'm in insurance. What do you do? I'm a TV reporter. Oh, I'm an oil man.
There's a dude in the cowboy hat.
The oil man's the coolest. So Jay, you're going to have to come back. This is wonderful. But give us your website if somebody's interested in meeting you and talking to you and maybe even coming on your show sometime.
Well, great, Jeff. I appreciate that. It's kingoperating.com, kingoperating.com. And I think we're on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all those other places. But if you go to our website, I believe there's an assessment that you can fill out to talk about oil and gas. Or if there's something that you want to come on my show, the Jay Young Show,
perfect,
and do that, or share this to somebody else that you think, hey man, this may be interested. Or we have a lot of investment advisors that talk to their people and they say, hey, well, I'm interested in oil and gas. Well, my investment advisor needs to look at it. Well, share this and then have them call us.
Perfect.
Because we do that as well. And so we're we've got some great leads on some great projects. We're doing some royalty programs now, 1031s, DSTs, drilling. I mean, it's just it's a big business, but I've got a lot of great people that work for me.
Well, you're amazing, and you've got a great vocabulary, and you can host your own show. And I have a theory that I probably could have gone to the bathroom, left for 10 minutes and come back, and the show would be flawless.
Well, I appreciate that, Jeff.
Yeah, no, you're wonderful.
You talk too much, or are you just saying that?
No. I'm complimenting you.
Right.
Sometimes when I'm interviewing people, I'm having to pull it out of them. But you can talk, and you're great.
Well, I appreciate that. A lot of great things to talk about. A lot of great people around me, and a lot of good things in life, man. You know, you can look at it two different ways, and I like the glass half full type of deal, just like you do. And look at this show you got, this studio, and all this thing that you have here. Man, it's great.
Well, I'm honored.
It's great.
I'm not going to arm wrestle you because I've seen how that movie plays out. But you'll have to come back again.
Thank you very much.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
All right. And that's it for this episode of Jeff Crilley, and we'll see you next time.